I know it's a bummer every time we talk about the Blackhawks here on the Sports Cubicle with Dan Marver, Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari, and myself, Mike Mercado, here on WCPT 820 AM. But another story has broke, and it really put everybody on a tailspin here in the city of Chicago when the story broke that the Chicago Blackhawks television booth is going to look and sound different this coming up season. And it was already sounding so different without Pat Foley there. But now Eddie Olczyk is moving on from the organization after 16 seasons as the team's TV color analyst. A source confirmed to NBC Sports Chicago his contract with the Blackhawks expired on June 30th, and a team source said the leadership group was blindsided by Olczyk's decision to leave. It was our understanding that we had reached a verbal agreement weeks ago, and we were awaiting a signature, the team source said. Mind you, this is coming from us from NBC Sports Chicago. Earlier on this week when this story broke out, some more developments have come, including this from Eddie Olczyk himself. There was a contract on the table, but we just couldn't come to an agreement, Olczyk said. I decided to step away. I had a great conversation with Rocky Wirtz, Danny Wirtz, and Jamie Faulkner. 15 years. I'm just thankful for the opportunity, the fans, and working at home and working for the Blackhawks has just been a dream come true. Sometimes you make business decisions and just couldn't come to terms and decided to step away. And then Eddie made the rounds on all the major stations, the other sports stations on ESPN, on WSCR 670 The Score. And when you hear him talk on NBC Sports Chicago, when you hear these quotes, it really drives home what a fixture he was in not just Chicago media, but Chicago sports, Chicago entertainment, Chicago staples, that he was our sports version of Mr. Rogers. He was welcoming. He made you love the sport. He taught you the sport. He didn't talk down to you. In a sport and a fandom that easily does that, makes it a very exclusive club, isn't the most welcoming to, the mainstream media. Eddie Olczyk did a great job of making you feel like you were a diehard fan because he was explaining and had a lot of love for it and had a lot of love for this team. And you saw that, Marvelous, him as a player. You saw him coming up from the neighborhoods. You saw him, what he did as a broadcaster, what he called during the playoff runs with the legendary Foley, and then getting with the legendary Doc to call 3 Blackhawks Stanley Cup championships. It's been a tough time for the Chicago Blackhawks. From Kyle Beach to the front office, and now Eddie Olczyk being gone, Pat Foley being driven away. This is the icing on a horrible tasting cake, right, Marvelous One? This is something that is just a bummer, and there's no way we could spin it that this is good for the Chicago Blackhawks.
No, you're correct. He also said, Olczyk, that they should have done the rebuild a long time ago. But a couple things about Olczyk. Now he's going to be in Seattle, where he's going to be with his brother, who's the GM, Rick Olczyk. And then play-by-play guy there is a guy named John Forsland, who apparently works for TNT, which is another one of Olczyk's jobs. But I'm just wondering, Seattle is a little bit less centrally located in Chicago for doing the TNT jobs when he has to zip around. But here's my Eddie. I have a story for everybody. I've met everybody. I met Les Grobstein. I met Eddie Olczyk. He'd been drafted by the Blackhawks a gazillion years ago, right? So we're at Great America up in Gurnee, and nobody else would recognize him but me, of course. He's in line ahead of us. It's for a ride. It doesn't exist anymore, which drops down really fast. I forgot what it was called. But if I took that right now, I'd be dead. Let's just put it that way. So he's ahead of me in line. And so we were talking, and he was, going to start with the Blackhawks. But that was my Eddie Olczyk story, that I actually met him in line for a ride at Great American Gurnee. So
shout out to Great American.
It's not like I make these stories up, but I've met everybody. I met Grobstein, I met Olczyk, whatever. So, but maybe he can't get along with in life without Foley now. Maybe that's it. There was a contract issue, obviously, but so he's going to be in Seattle. He'll see Forsland. He'll see his brother. So that will be kind of cool, even though they'll probably lose more games than the Blackhawks. Maybe not.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
Maybe not. But it's the end of an era, so now we're going to have a new broadcast team completely for Blackhawks, and obviously we've had that happen with the Bulls recently, where the play-by-play guy changed, and, we had a little bit of a shuffle with the White Sox with Casper and that. And people still ask me, why would he leave such a job with the Cubs? And in a way, the one thing that bothers me about that is, for example, Shabby's not there tonight. Why? because they're on Peacock tomorrow and they're on Apple TV last night, and he worked the All-Star game. So why would he come into Philadelphia and do a Saturday game when otherwise he would have had Thursday, Friday, and Sunday off? And before that, I looked at the schedule and I saw that the Sunday night game, which Boog also does, is the Padres and the Mets in New York. And I said, that can't be the reason. Philadelphia is 90 miles from New York. So it's not a travel issue. It's got to be that, what's the point? You're only going to do one game of the whole weekend and blah, blah, blah. So in any event, not to diverge from the topic, Olczyk will be missed, but they really were grooming a number of people because Conroy and others, because he was not there a lot of times because of his other commitments. So he'll still be the national voice with TNT, and he'll be the Seattle Kraken color man with Forsland, it sounds like. So good for him, and I hope he enjoys that. And we'll have a whole new team with the Blackhawks. There'll be no more treat in the turd with Foley, that's for sure.
No, and we won't be hearing any fun Kentucky Derby talk and whatnot on a Blackhawks, telecast. And it's a bummer because he was so good. And for someone like me who was going through my college years, watching the Blackhawks win those Stanley Cups, he is so embedded in my mind of calling those games from the Flyers series, from the Boston series, in that Tampa Bay series, all the battles against the Kings and the Predators and the Wild. It's embedded in all of our minds. And I think the big disappointment is, that it's going to take a while to get comfort and for it to gel, and not only for the team to be any worth of a dang, but for the broadcast to be able to have the energy to call a good team. Winning cures a lot, and this Blackhawks team is not going to win a lot of games. And Eddie Olczyk, more than anything, from his openness about dealing with illness to the way he just champions the sport nationally as a sport for the young kids, and he was one of a kind. He is one of a kind, and if he goes to Seattle with so many familial ties, if he just does national broadcasts, he's going to be a treat for whatever fan base gets to listen to him. And I think it was hopefully a pleasure, and hopefully people here in Chicago, fan bases, were able to enjoy all the years of having one of the great announcers in all of sports in our city day to day. And this is something we've talked about here on the show. When you are a world-class city, when you're a city that is a sports town that has some of the greatest announcers in every respective sport, you're going to lose these guys, and you're going to lose these gals, and you're going to lose these reporters. They're just commodities, and that's what happened with Eddie Olczyk. I hope that the Blackhawks are able to make amends sooner rather than later. I know for a lot of Blackhawk fans, it's going to take a while for them to root for the team, to root for the logo, to root for the family. They have a lot of misguided steps over the last 5 years, and they've done a lot of really horrible transgressions in the last 10 years. And winning solves a lot, but people are hard to forgive sometimes. And I think this is just another move that keeps them from that clear path of this rebuild. But it'll be a story that we keep our eyes on, and to see if Patrick Sharp is the next guy to take over that spot, if he's ready to do it. But Marvelous One, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll make sure, we'll see what happens. We know they're not going to be too good, but any final thoughts on this Eddie Olczyk story?
If we were live, I would be asking the trivia question for the next caller. Name the man that is replacing Pat Foley as the play-by-play man. I know the answer, but I don't know if anybody else does. His name is Chris Vosters. Okay, just so everybody knows, that is your play-by-play man for the Chicago Blackhawks on television. Nothing's changing on radio. You still have Wiedemann and Murray, as far as I know, but there's a whole new crew on TV. So there you go. Chris Vosters is the trivia answer for today.
I would have gotten the buzzer on that one because I had no idea, and I'm in the industry. Let us know your thoughts. You hear this Eddie Olczyk news. Are you sad? Did you see it coming? Let us know. We're on Twitter at Sports Cubicle TV. It's the Marvelous One, Dan Marver. It's Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari. I'm Mike Mercado.